Oh, I'm not gonna beat around the bush, guys. Yoga Hosers is really fucking bad. It's actually kind of mesmerizing in how bad it is. I didn't want to end this on a negative note. I think the last time I did that for one of these retrospectives was when I did M. Night Shyamalan, and the last one I did was The Last Airbender. But no, The Last Airbender is better than this. This movie is bad. It's just a bad movie. It's not funny, it's not well written, shit just happens, and I spent the whole time wondering what the fuck I was watching. The plot is not much. There are these two girls, both named Colleen. Colleen McKenzie, played by Smith's daughter Harley Quinn Smith, and Colleen Collette, played by Johnny Depp's daughter Lily Rose Depp. They work at a store in Canada, and we just sort of watch their lives for a bit. They practice yoga, they go to school, they try to hook up with boys, they have a band. I know I said a lot of Smith's earlier films had little plot, Kirks and Mallrats are very thin, but at least those only took place over the course of a day, and I like the characters. The Colleens are, how do I put this? They're not the most annoying characters, but they are stereotypes. What I think Smith was trying to do was make a version of Clerks for the millennial generation in the same way that the original Clerks was for the Gen X generation, but calling it Clerks for millennials isn't exactly true either. It's Clerks for the very late millennial, early Gen Z generation, or as I like to call it, the Instagram generation. Speaking of Instagram, this movie might have the laziest character development I have ever seen. Anytime a new character comes in, it will do some Instagram parody called Instacam that lets us know their name and their relation to the Colleens. And when it comes to the Colleens, all these characters do is care about their phones. It's the most basic of kids these days jokes. If it really was trying to be the Instagram generation movie, not only did it fail, but 2 years later we got 8th grade that was way better. The jokes are terrible. I chuckled a few times. For like the first half, all the jokes are about Canadians, but not clever. Every joke is a boot, sorry, a beaver, hockey, hosers. It's all cheap Canadian jokes. But you know what? I didn't know how good I had it, because eventually the jokes would be worse. The first time it tries to actually have a plot, about halfway through, it brings in Satanists, played by James from Zoe 101 and the main guy from that Teen Wolf show, and then switches to bratwurst Nazis. Once these things come in, I gave up any hope of this movie turning around. This feels like something a kid would come up with, or someone who was really high. And it is so jarring once they show up that it almost feels like trolling, and everything that comes after that is awful. The Colleens are just annoying, quoting Christian Bale's Batman and fawning over Harry Styles. And there's this villain who created the bratwurst Nazis because he was a Nazi but froze himself for 70 years. I don't fucking know. Oh, and the bratwurst Nazis, the CG sucks. Like, a lot. Johnny Depp is also back as Guy Lapointe. Yes, they brought back the worst part of Tusk. And just like in that movie, well, Depp is fine, the character is just annoying and he slows the movie down. Since the first half has no plot, it feels so much longer than it is. It's only an hour and a half. There's tons of different tonal shifts, absolutely nothing makes sense. And once the plot decides to start, things just happen. One of them says that there's a secret passage in the bathroom, then says she just made it up, but then it turns out there is. There's pointless cameos from the likes of Haley Joel Osment, Jason Mewes, and even Stan freaking Lee. This movie is actually kind of embarrassing. So is there anything good? Yes. There are two things. The two girls, Harley and Lily. Don't get me wrong, the characters of the Colleens are just annoying stereotypes, but the actresses do a good job. They have good chemistry, they clearly are good friends, they're not bad actors, and they're also pretty good singers.
Oh, listen up, cause you might get disco, drain the lizard, or take a chair. Damn, come on girl, watch the beat. I'm on your case, I'm in your face, get you and your father back in place. Step up, sucker, on your step. Don't you know that? I'm the man. I'm the man.
Given better material, I think these two could be good in something, and I really hope that if they continue a career in show business, whether in acting or singing, they are very successful because they deserve it. It's for the most part competently shot and edited, and at least it's a uniquely bad movie, unlike something like Cop Out, which was bad but in a way that many other movies like it are bad. This is kind of bad I haven't seen before, and it is kind of hard to get that angry at a movie that Smith made for his kid. If I were his kid, I would be mortified, but hey, it does look like they had fun. I give it a 3 out of 10. It's almost worth seeing just because it's so weirdly bad, but like I said, it's kind of embarrassing watching it. However, it is the kind of movie that only Kevin Smith could make, and I think that says a lot about him. When he is trying, he can make something special. Maybe it's fucking terrible, but it can also be something great. I know I ended this on a negative note, but I do still love Kevin Smith just because he manages to do a lot with very little, and it can be super ambitious. Plus, he just seems like a super awesome dude. His movies won't be for everyone, but I'll never forget seeing Clerks for the first time and feeling like the movie was speaking directly to me. I hope the new Jay and Silent Bob is good and he continues to make movies for years to come. So that's it for Kevin Smith, but join me in December for a much shorter retrospective when the new Star Wars movie comes out. Bye.